What's up, Junkies? It's the first home game of the 2023 season. Northern Illinois is coming to town, and we get to watch Matt Rhule and the rest of the Cornhuskers go through the tunnel for the very first time. Let's get out there and support these guys and go Big Red.
45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. He's gonna go! Holy cow!
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day! Day by day! He gets better and better! He gets better and better! Team champion me! Team champion me! Oh, man, woman, and child, he just turned this stadium inside out!
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey.
Welcoming in Mike Nanfito. We teased that he was going to be here. We actually did get him here, not like the last tease where we didn't get the guest on at all.
It happens.
Glad to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's good to be
This
here,
is
man.
exciting.
That intro music will sure get you jacked up, man.
That's we got to play it every
We're just
time.
got to do the
Yeah.
tunnel walk there for a
Got
second.
to do it every time. Gets us fired up. The first time that we tried to record in this setting, we don't need the intro music to get started for us on this side. Now it's in post-edit. But Matt was like, I don't know, I just can't start the show this way. It feels
felt
weird.
weird.
Because we did, for the last 2 years, we've always recorded it in. It was all a single track thing. But no, it's fun.
I
It's
agree
fun.
with Matt. It needs to be in there.
It's just a little flaccid without it. Let's get you hard.
Well, shit, man, we've been trying to get you on here since like midsummer.
Yeah.
Finally, it works out. I know that after the Colorado game that night, I woke up the next morning and all I got a text was, "I'm ready." I was like, "You're ready?" Question mark for what?
Yeah. Well, better late than never, right? But
Yeah.
after that Colorado game, I was jacked up, boys. I've had a few days.
Everybody was, yeah.
A few days to calm down, and just kind of let the dust settle a little bit. So think logically again now.
Yeah. No, that was a rough one.
That was one of the reasons I turned my phone off on Saturday. I was like, it's better that I not respond to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even answer us until
The next
what was
day,
it, like
I
9
think.
o'clock?
Oh, it
No, it was like
that-
9
yeah,
that
you're
night
right,
or something
yeah.
like that. You had just got back to the hotel, I think.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, my phone's been off, no signal.
Well, some of it was no signal. Some of it was I needed a breather, and I was just like, if I started responding to anybody, I was going to respond to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's better just to not respond to anybody.
I always like to ask anybody that comes on, how did you become a Husker fan? Like, what's your earliest memory, your favorite memory? Like, why is it Nebraska?
Oh, well, born and raised. Obviously, it's passed down family to, generation to generation. And in these parts, obviously, growing up, born and raised from Nebraska, experiencing the family parties as you're growing up, when I feel like that we do the same thing now as our parents did. You get all the kids together, you
Not
get
quite
all
as
the
much
friends together.
happiness at the end.
Well, yeah. It was a lot more fun back then. At least it looked like our parents were having a lot
Yes.
more fun than what we experience now. But no, man, that's just growing up in a Husker household and growing up in the state, going to games as a kid with my dad. Starting to go to games when you're 4 or 5 years old and experiencing all that live, and it was a little bit different for TV coverage way back then.
Oh, yeah.
But Nebraska got a lot of it.
Yeah.
Back in the late 80s and 90s, man. I think that's why we were getting a lot of the recruits that we did, because everybody's like, well, you want to go
You're
play
on
national
TV,
TV?
yeah.
Well, there you go to Nebraska. But no, that's how I became born and raised Nebraska fan, and my earliest memory of any football has to do with Nebraska.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite game that you went to with your dad or anything, or just in general, I guess?
Yeah, so there was two that I remember. One where we beat Arizona State, I think it was, back in like 90, 91. Like, God, I think we beat them like 72-10 or something like that.
Jesus.
And then growing up in the generation.
That would have been, I think that was the year before they beat us, so that would have been 95.
It's mid to
like
early
that, yeah.
90s, somewhat. We just whacked them.
Yeah.
So that one, and then, growing up in the Nebraska household as well, too, the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry was always, just top
Big
shelf.
time.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But it was weird growing up in the 90s and, hearing your parents talk about the Nebraska-Oklahoma rivalry and how always close it was. And, God, during the 90s, they sucked, man. Like, we would just beat the brakes off them year after year. I mean, they were
And then
not –
Bob Stoops
They
came
were not
in.
good. Yeah, Bob Stoops came along and changed the whole thing. Hopefully we're next with that. But yeah, there was a play I remember being on the sideline, and one of the Oklahoma running backs was making a break towards the sideline and just got murdered on a hit. flew into the sidelines, like into the tables. He ended up getting carted off the field.
Jesus.
But that's what Nebraska football was back then, just snot bubbles.
Violence.
Defense, just violent tackles, and like we have bad intentions today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what one of my earliest memories was too, just watching that dude get carted off. And I was like,
That was on TV, right? That you saw that one?
oh God, well I was there. You know,
Okay.
so I mean I was a pup back
Well,
then.
because there was one that was in Oklahoma. It was Charles Thompson, actually, Casey Thompson's dad. And no, it might have been Jamel Holloway back in the 80s. There was a big hit early in the game, and I'm pretty sure that game was in Oklahoma, though. And he went way into the bench on the sideline, and he snapped his leg.
Oof.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that
not
I don't
the
know.
same
I don't know if
snap.
that's the same
No,
play,
it
but
was- 'cause it was down
that
in
was
Lincoln.
that
It
just
was
that
down in
reminded
Lincoln,
me
but-
of that play from the 80s. It was like,
But yeah.
Speaking of snapped legs, you're a Packers fan.
Yeah.
Do you have any feelings about A-Raj?
I'm a little bit upset because I went on a limb and I drafted him as my fantasy
Oh
quarterback.
shit! Oh shit!
Yeah. So that was like, okay, well, season's over, first game. But I feel like that
I think his
happens
career's
He got
over.
to disappoint you one more time.
Yeah, exactly right.
No
Exactly.
shit. No shit. I didn't know if you had any like, that's karma, baby. Like any of that going on?
No,
or?
I mean, I obviously I respect him. He did a lot for the Packers. Watched him for the past basically 2 decades and just basically getting used to winning. But man, when he left for the Jets, I'm like, all right, whatever. We got to move on at some point in time anyway.
It's kind of the way we were about Brady.
No love lost. No love lost. But man, that is like the most ultimate Jets thing that could ever happen.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
no
yes.
kidding.
Ever happen.
I love the image of Robert Saleh. It's sometime later in that game, but it's just him like, and it's been massively turned into a meme of
His face.
thinking you never had to watch what's his name, the backup quarterback, Zach Wilson play quarterback for your team ever again.
That poor guy.
Moments later.
Poor guy.
the look you have when you realize Zach Wilson is now your quarterback again.
Yeah, no kidding.
And some guy called it on Twitter like 2 hours before the game.
I saw that.
Yeah, somebody called it.
Because it was storming on the field, and they're like, in this type of weather, Aaron Rodgers is going to snap his Achilles.
Within
fuck does
2.5
that have to
hours
do with
on a
weather?
wet MetLife field. Yeah.
It'd be a slippery
Yeah, but
or whatever.
it
Yeah,
wasn't
I know,
slippery
I
at
know.
all. The way that he was at, he was just like he just got overextended.
But no,
on that
I saw
foot.
that
Yeah.
tweet earlier today,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, damn.
Like literally verbatim, Aaron Rodgers will snap his Achilles within 2.5 hours on a wet Met field.
Yeah.
On a wet MetLife field. And I was like,
Everyone went and followed him. They're like, please start picking stocks.
Yeah, right.
Please start telling
What are
us
the
games
lot-
to bet on.
What are the lottery numbers?
Yeah, no
Picking
shit.
games.
yeah, that was
Jesus Christ.
But I
That-
feel bad for the Jets, man. I mean, I got no skin in the game with the Jets, but God, it just makes your stomach turn for them.
And wasn't it like the day after was the 20 or 22 year anniversary when Vinny Testaverde, who was supposed to be, the next Jets guy that was going to take them to the Super Bowl, the first game of the
Same
season,
scenario.
he snapped his Achilles as well in the first
Are you
game.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's
Yeah.
just such a Jets thing to happen.
Yes.
Everything that can go wrong to a football team happens to the Jets.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's. I couldn't believe it. And when it happened, I watched the way that he was standing there and then sat down. I'm like, there's no pain on his face, and he knows he doesn't have movement of that foot right now. That's an Achilles. I called it instantly.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even have to see the fucking replay, and I didn't even catch where it was. Tabitha pointed it out. She's like, she's like, back up to here. And I'm like, oh, yep, you watched his whole calf shake.
Yeah.
It was,
When they put it in slow motion, they zoomed up on it, and you saw the pop. You're like, oof.
yeah.
They did the same thing with
That
Kevin
thing- that
Durant
thing
when
straight
that happened
rolled
with
up.
Kevin Durant, too. And yeah, it
Well,
was just.
and my thing is, too, it took KD basically 2 years to come back right. Aaron Rodgers is 38. He was already contemplating
He turns 40.
retirement.
Yeah, he's
He tur-
he's
he
gonna
turns
turn 40.
in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. I thought he
Yeah.
was only 38.
No.
Yeah, his career's over. There's no way he's going to take 2 years off and come back.
He says he's coming back.
He put out a comment today that he didn't say he's coming
They'll
back.
come back
but
for more than money for sure.
He did a
He
Dark
got, what,
Knight
46
reference, I
guarantees
believe.
or something like that? Yeah, that worked out well for Matt Harvey, didn't it?
Yeah.
Godly. I'm not.
The
Nobody
night
remembers who
darkest
Matt
just
Harvey
before the
is.
day.
Well, no, I know he's a pitcher, but I don't know what he said.
Yeah, he was dark. He dubbed himself the Dark Knight of Gotham. He played for the Mets.
Yeah.
And he went and had Tommy John and said, "I'll be back." Blah blah. It was never the same pitcher ever again.
Yeah.
He got ran out of the game the next year.
Tough to recover from leg injuries when you're older. Believe me, I get it.
You did it for 2 years too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Slip and slides. Fuck. Wasn't that what it was?
Let's keep this on track. Let's keep this on track. Let's not-
He's like, don't bring up that shit.
I still got PTSD.
We got enough other stuff to be worried about in this
Well,
podcast.
We're here to preview the Northern Illinois game, but we also know you have some thoughts on the Colorado game. Maybe some thoughts on the Matt Rhule hire. Lay it on us, man. Like start way back in November, December.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the biggest reasons why I hadn't come on yet, is just because I didn't know. You know, I was so unsure of the way this was going to go. Like all Nebraska fans, we do it to ourselves every year. You start getting this like overwhelming optimism.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, you start thinking like, oh, this is it. You know, new year, new coach. You start talking about the new guys that are coming in off the transfer portal. You're talking about the guys that are coming back. You start getting all these delusions of grandeur.
Talk yourself
going
into
on
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me, we know you can go out
every
and listen
year.
to 18 episodes of it prior
So-
to this season.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I was balancing on that and also trying to reality check myself and just be like, okay, let's have low expectations. You know what I mean? There's no logical explanation why we're going to win 11 games this year or 10 games or anything like that. It'd be great if it happened, but
Matt thought so.
probably not. Probably not.
Accidentally, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just so unsure going into the season. I know you brought up the Matt Rhule thing on the teaser thing coming into this episode.
Well, I remember when you and I talked way back in like February or March originally about you coming on. You were like, I don't like the hire, man. I don't like it.
Well, I think in the beginning, a lot of it was ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. Like, I didn't know Matt Rhule. I guess everyone knew who he was as a coach and what he did and his accomplishments at the programs that he was at in college and Temple and Baylor.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously what happened with the Carolina Panthers. But, I mean, so be it. You know, Nick Saban didn't make it in the NFL either, right? So, but I think I didn't know him as a person, first of all. And then after he came on, he won me over with that first press conference, guys. Like, I like that.
There's
one.
the goosebumps
I
right
like
there
that
just
one.
thinking
I mean,
about it.
I was like, okay, I'm starting to like this guy. And then what he did on the recruiting trail in a very short amount of time was absolutely nothing short of a miracle, right? But, I mean, going back to before he was hired, and you started going through all these possibilities of who it could be. I started falling in love on the Mickey Joseph train a little bit, you know, but I also knew in my head, like, we can't gamble anymore. Mickey Joseph has no head coaching experience. Excellent recruiter, awesome coach. But no head coaching experience. Coming on with Scott Frost, had 2 years of head coaching experience. He was the ninth wonder of the world at the time. Everybody wanted him. You know what I mean? So that was kind of weighing on my head. But I was like, we cannot gamble on a coaching board. We need a surefire thing. Then you see Urban Meyer coming to town for game day, and then everybody starts chanting Urban Meyer in the crowd. You start thinking, oh, could that be a thing? But I just wanted, like, hey, it's time to open up the wallets. It's time to bring in a coach in here that is surefire success. And I was looking at Rhule, and I was like, okay. So I just started looking at the stats about the guy, right? Basically a 500 record in college, right?
That's what happens when you don't win any games.
Basically, yeah. You take out those two first seasons. I mean, technically you can't, but if you take those out, he would have been like 44-22 or something like that. So
Yeah.
not bad. But he was basically a 500 coach. His record against top 25 ranked opponents was 0-11 at Baylor, and I think he was 2-5 at Temple. But he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing any powerhouse schools, you know, basically at that point.
Beating Penn State, I think, was
so
the best,
I'm looking at
best
it
one he had.
the day announced. I'm like, here we did it again. We hired another 500 coach, has a terrible record against ranked opponents. Like, here we go again, right? But then, like I said, started winning me over with what he was doing personally and who he is as an individual and what he did on the recruiting trail, what he's still doing on the recruiting trail. We got some big guys coming into the game this weekend.
Yeah.
Number one guard, or excuse me, offensive lineman, guard or tackle.
Yeah.
In the country, a handful of other guys. So then,
Who's tweeting out Nebraska shit nonstop?
really,
Yeah.
oh, that's good to know. But then I actually fell in love with this guy, and I think that's what Nebraska fans really, really need to embrace, because this is the first time we've had a guy like this. He is so honest. He is so open. He's not changing who he is to appease to anybody. You know what I mean? He's a great leader. He's great with these kids, and frankly, I know it's been a long season so far. It's been 2 games. It's been a long season.
It's been rough.
But man, you got some guys out there playing with some passion. You got some guys playing with some heart and going hard.
I think what we're seeing just on defense and the upgrade we've seen from certain guys on the offensive line, that's where I'm hanging my hat with what you're saying about him just getting guys bought in. There's other shit that we can talk about that point to negative all over the place as well, but the passionate play we're seeing on defense, the buy-in that we're seeing on the defensive side of the ball, Whether that's all Tony White or not, we don't know. We'll probably find out
Love
in a
that
year or
guy.
two because he's probably not going to be here more than another year or two.
Love that guy.
But I don't know. I don't get it.
Great hire.
I liked the fact that the players the other day had their little press conference, and first of all, the theme was double down on the process because specifically, like Gabe Irvin said that about 67 times.
Yeah.
But they were also, when talking about their coaches, not just Matt Rhule, but also their position coaches and everything else, they were saying when you have guys that say what they are going to do and they don't waver on what they're going to do and what they're teaching you and what they're telling you about the process and all this other stuff, they're not wavering. Neither are we. Like, they're still bought in. You brought up the fact after the Colorado game when Rhule went into the locker room and, like, the first thing he said after the game was, "Are you guys still with me?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that some people, some negative people can say, well, what are they going to say in the press conference? Of course they're going to back their guy. You're not completely wrong. But at the same time, the way that they were saying it meant something. It wasn't just saying words.
Well, and you don't just have to look at football when you're looking at trusting a process and following through on something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in a sales job, whether you're working as a pastor at a church, whether you're doing any of those things where you have some sort of creative control over your process and what you're doing, you can't just jump from one thing to the next instantly if it doesn't work right away. We're 2 games into a season where he really honestly has a minimum of 3 years, probably I would guess at least 5 years of rope to hang himself if this isn't going to work. We're 2 games in. You expect him to just all of a sudden ditch his plan?
2 games.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, 2 games.
It just doesn't make sense. The people that are calling it, bench Jeff Sims. He's had his eye on Jeff Sims for 3 fucking years. You think he's gonna fall off him because of 7 turnovers in 2 games? It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, and again, trusting the process. Just bouncing somebody after 2 games, that's trusting the process? No.
And just because I hate the process because the 76ers ruined it for me. But they fucking did. I hate it. And it did not work
ruined
for them.
the process for me. So
Well, there's that.
They ruined it for all of Philadelphia too.
Yeah, no shit, because it's not worked. But and it might not work, but you have to give it time.
You're right.
You can't bail on something a game and a half in. Essentially, is what everybody wanted on Jeff Sims.
No, he's got to have time. He's got to have time. And I do believe now, circling back to me being anti-Rhule or whatever in the beginning.
I had to bring it up, man.
Even after I appreciate it. Yeah, I have to make sure I explain myself on that one. But
you were open-minded to at least
absolutely.
look into
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Like you brought up the fact that he's basically a 500 record coach, but it's easy to just look at the stat thing and look at his record and say, oh, he's 500. But if you actually, like, BJ, you brought it up and then you said you looked into it, it's like, but you can't just look at that individual record. If you dig into those seasons, you can tell that there was massive growth, massive progress, and there was a great job done at both places.
100%. And I think those are the numbers that tell the real story of the situation. Like BJ mentioned earlier, you take out those first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
When he was brought in to rebuild a program like he's doing right now, I mean, dude, he's pretty much a rock star. And that's why he went to the level of where he's at, is because what he did with those 2 programs. So I would say to the Nebraska fans right now that are all just absolutely losing their minds over 2 games with Rhule and calling for coaches to be fired and everything like that, I'll pull a little Aaron Rodgers out for you here, gentlemen.
Oh, jeez.
Relax. Relax.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull out some ayahuasca or something.
Oh, yeah, well, I got some of that too. It's in the back. But just relax. I mean, look at the stats again. At Baylor, his first season, I think he was 1-11.
Yeah,
something like that. Temple, his first year, he was 2-10-ish. Something.
It was
like that.
1 and 2 wins at both places, whichever. Yeah.
Second season at both programs, over 500. Third season at both programs, double-digit wins, and he's in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at Temple, Temple's history of their program, they have 3 10-win seasons or double-digit win seasons. He has 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, you should not do that at Temple.
They have 3 in their history.
And
the
other thing with Baylor too is they have not fallen off since he's left.
They did this year.
Well,
so far this year.
Aranda's kind of shit in the bed so far.
But I mean,
this year.
look at the cumulative portfolio over the past decade, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, Baylor won the conference the Big 10 or Big 12 conference the year after Rhule left. So like with Rhule's players, Dave Aranda went and won the conference.
Yeah. So everybody just relax. Take a deep breath here,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm...
Stay off social media. You're making us look like idiots.
Yeah, turn your phone off like I did.
You're making us all look like idiots.
Well, you made a good point yesterday. We were talking about it. There was a post that I just finally had enough, and they're in one of the biggest Husker groups you can be in on Facebook, and I'm just like, good God, I can't fucking take this anymore. These guys are just picking at every little thing that Rhule says here and there, and it's like oh he's got no backbone. He said this about turnovers.
He's a liar.
He said this about turnovers and blah 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 blah. And I don't remember how the guy said it, but basically I'm just like, okay, so you're gonna pick to listen to him on this one, but you didn't listen to him when he said right before the season started, I don't know if I'm smart enough to get this done in year 1, but trust me, by year 3 we'll be turned around.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take him at his word for following up on accountability with penalties, but you're not gonna do shit when it comes to him actually straight up telling you up front. The first year might hurt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's told us all this. The first year might fucking hurt. Chill the fuck out.
Yep.
If we get to a bowl game, awesome. It'll be great. There's a very good chance that we could, especially with as shitty as the Big Ten West has looked so far.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody noticed. Wisconsin looked like fucking dog shit last week. So did Illinois against
Who's the one that
Kansas.
said pump the brakes on the Wisconsin
You
hype?
called that all day. I thought, and Fickle was a guy that I really didn't think we had a shot at. And then when it turned out that we did have a shot at him, but we passed and went with Matt Rhule, I was a little salty, especially when he goes up to Wisconsin and he's taken over a team that's literally just been underperforming, better talent, better coached. Like he had a much more full cupboard to open up when he got there than Matt Rhule had.
I would
here.
agree with that.
And so everybody that was, torching the fact that we didn't get Fickle, I was a little bit like, okay, yeah, Matt Rhule is one of my guys up front. I said Bill O'Brien, Matt Rhule, just because of what they've done rebuilding programs from trash heap pile problems, and didn't think Fickle was an option. And come to find out, he's headed to Wisconsin. I thought he was going to be a home run the first year. You're right.
What?
At least to this point, it looks like you're right.
I still think Fickle will be good at Wisconsin. I just said for year 1, with the transition that they're making, with the drastic changes that they're making to their offense, with their new offensive coordinator and everything else, I just didn't think that it would be just this quick snap. Yes, we're rolling right now. Down the road, I do believe Luke Fickle will be just fine. But right away, I was just like, let's wait and see on this. As far as, again, just year 1.
I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think it's safe to say that Wisconsin's kind of going through the same transition we went through from Solich to Bill Callahan? From an offensive and team shift perspective?
It's safe to say that. I'm not trying to say that.
I know that fall apart.
I know that you're not saying that it's the exact same, but yeah, it is very similar. Changing the offense as drastically as we did, yeah.
Fickle's West Coast pass-heavy offense.
Wasn't that kind of Bill Callahan when he came
Absolutely.
in? Bill Callahan was the West Coast offense.
Big
yeah.
time, high flying.
Yeah,
and that's that's the opposite of what we were doing prior to that.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin's been playing Nebraska 90s ball for the last
if
decades.
If you want to live by the run the damn ball motto that all those shirts and hats were coming out with over the past couple of years, I'm very happy we have Rhule over Fickle, because he's going to commit way more to the, in my opinion, he's going to commit more to the run and build a program off of that more than just let's run and gun and sling it and get some fast wideouts in here.
I want to see an offense that actually looks like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't really care what.
I
don't really care what
want to be able to move the ball. It's been a long time since we've been able to move the ball.
Yeah, it always seems like it's one hand or the other of whether it's we have a strong defense and no offense. We have a strong offense and no defense. Why can't we get all 3 phases together just for one season? You know what I mean?
Special teams the only thing we haven't had to worry about so far.
One time. That's all we need.
Well, and you said for one season. I'd like to see it just for one game, and then go from there.
Baby steps. Yeah.
One step at a time. Well, we're here to talk about Northern Illinois. Jed usually has some sort of fun fact. I don't know if there's any fun facts about Northern Illinois other than they have a couple Hall of Fame quarterbacks, don't they?
Not that I know of.
I thought they had a couple Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
No, I didn't dig that deep. I wanted to find out some stuff about their head coach, who's going into his 5th year. He's a former player at Northern Illinois, Thomas Hammock. He was, unfortunately for him, I feel bad for him, he was a teammate of P.J. Fleck at Northern Illinois. So I mean, hey,
So he knows what a dick with two dicks looks like, or two thumbs looks like.
a dick with two dicks, like.
Apparently, you know PG a little better than we do.
I told you that Minnesota trip was fun.
Wow.
Did he take off his vest or and leave that on too?
That just makes me think of Jim Tressel.
Man, that threw me off.
Yeah,
A dick
I
with two
completely
dicks.
lost. I think this is a different show.
I know you probably don't. Do you guys? Do any of you guys remember the running back? He was a real small guy. He played about 8 or 9 years in the NFL. Michael Turner. He played for the Falcons for a handful of years. And he wasn't like great or anything, but he was kind of a Darren Sproles type player. He played at Northern Illinois. And this head coach for Northern Illinois now, he was a running back. Granted, if you looked at him now, you wouldn't think he'd be running back. But, you know, as we all get older, we all get a little bigger as well. So that just is life. But Thomas Hammock actually, in his sophomore and junior year, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons for Northern Illinois. He was all-conference player as a running back. His senior year, Michael Turner was his backup. His senior year, he played the first game of the season. He had 172 yards rushing. So he was on the fast track for a great season, all that stuff for his senior year, probably get drafted, all that stuff. Then he had a medical issue where the lining of his heart is thickening, so he had to retire.
Jesus.
And then Michael Turner steps in, and he ends up rushing for like 1,900 yards that year and is second in the country in rushing yards. So it's like,
Damn.
you know, without that unfortunate situation, who knows, you know, if anybody knows who the hell Michael Turner actually is and what his career would have ended up being like. But it was just kind of like, but the interesting thing on how he got into coaching, so he was sitting out that senior year, but he was still traveling with the team and all that stuff. And they played at Wisconsin, and Barry Alvarez was the coach, and there was some communication between Barry Alvarez actually went up to Thomas Hammock and was like, hey, you know, heard the news, sucks, hope, you know, everything goes great for you and all that stuff. You know, that's a good gesture by Barry Alvarez. And he said, let me know if, you know, you ever need any help with anything in the future or whatever, you know, I'll help you out, whatever. Hammock leaves to go just get an ordinary job, and then he kind of starts getting the football itch, and he starts looking around to become a coach, and he reaches out to a couple people, and one of those people reached out to Barry Alvarez, and Alvarez remembered him and immediately was like, I got you. So kind of started his coaching career that way. And
Speaking of tying things into Wisconsin.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and all Nebraska, obviously, with Barry Alvarez.
Well, yeah.
So it's, you know, yeah. So, I mean, he's kind of struggled a little bit. He doesn't have the greatest record, but, you know, like the COVID year, they went 0-6. So that doesn't really help your overall record. But 2021, they won the MAC conference. They had 9 wins. Last year, they fell off. They only had 3 wins, but they had a shit ton of injuries. They started 4 quarterbacks all last year, multiple games.
Didn't they almost beat Iowa last year, or was that 2 years ago?
I didn't look that deep into their schedules.
Okay, gotcha.
But, I mean, they only won 3 games last year, so it's probably
they
wasn't
Probably
last year.
not.
Aren't they running 2 quarterbacks right now?
No, Rocky Lombardi's healthy now. They've only they've had Lombardi play all the games.
Yeah, it was Rocky Lombardi, but I thought Nick Baker started the game against Southern Illinois.
As far as passes go, Rocky Lombardi and Justin Lynch are the only ones that thrown a pass, and Justin Lynch is a running back, so he's only thrown 1 pass. So, but they had a ton of injuries last year, so yeah, they had a shitty year as far as record goes. One of their starting quarterbacks who started multiple games was a 4th-string walk-on kid. So it's like they were struggling. They had a lot of other injuries throughout the entire team. The big thing that they talked about, I know this is crazy for anybody to do, but I listened to a couple of MAC podcasts that talk about Northern Illinois. Yeah,
I didn't know they had Matt.
That was interesting.
I didn't either.
You really had some time on your hands. Holy shit.
I feel like the
educational.
first one you got had to have been at least like 3 different like Big Mac podcasts, like not or like McDonald's, not actual Mac football.
Nope.
Did you take some ayahuasca before you?
I should have. But they one of the things that they said was they played so many guys last year that they're really comfortable in what they're bringing back this year with the experience. They're still kind of young, but they've got a lot of guys that had playing time last year. They might not have been that good last year, but at least they're coming back with game time experience.
Defensive line.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Rhule
Defensive
commented
line.
their defensive line was
They've got 3 of their 4 defensive linemen back. They have all 5 of their offensive linemen back. So at least in the trenches, they're going to be tough.
Yeah.
Last year, they were 7th in the country in sacks allowed.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird that you're 7th in the country with sacks allowed and you only won
Only
3
won
games.
3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they also,
It's a bad quarterback.
with Nebraska, they had a shit ton of close games. Like,
they did.
within 8 points on, like, most of their losses.
Wait, were they trying to give us a run for the best 3-win team of all time?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, we fucking won that title.
That's fucking ours. We're going to tell them to knock it off.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
We don't need to get beaten that, too.
Yeah, 5 of their 9 losses were by 8 points or fewer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rookies.
Well, Illinois teams over the past decade have given us a run for our money.
Yeah, no
Very
shit.
true.
Doesn't matter which one. If it's got Illinois in there somewhere, it's like, ugh, start thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they had, like I said, they had all 5 of their offensive linemen returning this year. They gave up 12 sacks last year, was 7th in the country, and they played 2 games this year, 1 against an FCS school, and they've already given up 5.
Wow.
And 3 of them were against Southern Illinois. So
Well, as
Sorry.
as we got to the quarterback last week,
Impressive.
that was the most impressive part of the game,
yeah.
probably. The most impressive stat across the board.
absolutely.
Most sacks since 2011, is that right? Or 09?
It was
I think it was
09.
9. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was with Sioux. That's all I know. It was
Yeah.
Texas. They had 9 in that game. We had 8 in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive. And it was spread all over the place, too. I mean, there were a couple guys that had numerous sacks. Numerous.
Lenhart had 2. He only had 3 tackles. 2 of them were sacks.
Yeah.
Henrich had 2 in his
Henrich
first
had
game
2,
back.
Yeah.
He was all over the fucking field. When I saw that he only had, what did he have, 7 tackles or 6? I was shocked.
Well,
I thought for
we
sure he
played
had more
so
than that.
many people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Also-
21 players on defense or something like that.
Yeah.
21 or 24.
When you're looking at those, they're crediting a lot of those as half tackles.
True.
Yeah.
The way that our team is actually tackling this year, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like 4 dudes touching them every time they hit the ground.
Yeah, a guy at work, one of my coworkers, mailman Todd, he'll like that I mentioned his name. I'll be nice to him on here, even though I say a lot of mean things to his face. We asked the question. So we had 14 missed tackles last week, and we were like, how the hell was it 14? Because we looked like we tackled a lot better than that. We were trying to figure out where all the 14 missed tackles came from, and he brought up, he listened to the show, and he sends me a message. He goes, most of those missed tackles were probably on that 2-point conversion that Shador was running, for about
Jesus,
100
that's true.
yards.
We missed like 6 on that play.
Yeah, 6 on one play.
Yeah.
So half of them came on one play, basically.
That's like one of those like when a bad center comes in off the bench. He's got like 4 minutes in the game, but there was one time where he had like 3 tips that just wouldn't go in. Got credited with 4 rebounds and 2 points, one trip down the floor.
I'll be honest, I was thinking football. I didn't understand what you were saying about centers.
What is
fuck are
the
you
center doing
talking
with
about?
his tip? This is weird.
Why is the center out here like a cat?
And what is he tipping?
Just the tip.
Really
guys.
fucking
Just
confused
the
there for a second.
My bad. It's been a long week. It's only going to get longer.
So defense should have a great weekend this weekend. Should. I mean,
I
if
hope
they should
so.
show up the same way they did the first 2 games, I would say so. I mean, that's the number one thing that I've learned this season so far is, God, damn, our defense is stout, fellas.
Yeah.
They look
Our
good.
defense
Fucking
is
fast.
stout.
It makes me upset that we gave up the stats we did in that Colorado game.
If we could just score. A lot of those garbage stats, too, though.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
A lot of those are garbage stats. Came on 2-3 plays, broke down defenses on coverage on one, and then, a couple other were Sanders was just basically broken plays, and he's scrambling in the backfield, and then one out of I don't know how many times receiver got open downfield, and he just heaved it. And that was that. But God, that's another thing is our secondary guys. Do you know how many times that he was scrambling around that game against Colorado? I mean, I'm talking 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, sit in the pocket. He had nowhere to go with the ball.
There's no doubt.
Nowhere to go with the ball.
There's no doubt he's talented.
Yeah.
He's a very talented athlete.
So are their wide receivers.
And so are their wide receivers. The fact that, and we talked about this a lot before the game, Not as much afterwards, but we're fast. We're super fucking fast in the back end of our defense. We mentioned, we brought it up a couple different times since Miles Farmer left, but I think he was probably basically told, hey, you're not fast enough to play in this defense, so you're probably not going to have the dominant timeshare of start and field time. Basically, is you're not going to be able to keep up with what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You're almost a liability, and I feel like that probably played some into his kind of
His demise.
just basically dicking his way around and then getting told, hey, you don't want to be here? Don't be here. Get out.
Yeah, the speed to ball, like the closing speed they have, the open field one-on-one tackles that they have, the gang tackling that they have. But the main thing is just the closing speed. I mean, in both games, there were several instances where wide receivers, tight ends, running backs were doing swing routes just to the side, or even 5 little yard out routes where there was 10 yards of separation between them when they caught the ball to our closest defender, and they had no yards after catch. The gap was closed like that, and they were.
And we're not missing
they were
them.
down. No, and we're not missing them.
That's the big.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference between
Yeah.
what we've seen for the last 10 fucking years.
So that's
We're not
impressive.
Yeah.
I was just score some damn points.
Yeah. Move the ball in general.
We're great between the 40s.
As long as
We're
we hold
great
on.
between the
As
40s.
long as we hold
as long as
on,
we don't
we're
turn it
doing
over. Yeah.
We've been great between been great between the 20s and the 30s under Frost too. We just couldn't make field goals and couldn't get on the board, and that's unfortunately kind of what's going on right now too.
Yeah.
Especially with 0 points in the first half so far on the season.
I didn't even think about that. Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any other interesting stats about Northern Illinois?
The only other one I have is that they had a wide receiver in 2021. He was a freshman. He's a short little guy, almost not to get you too excited, Matt, but a Billy Kemp type, like
Be careful.
5'10", 190 pounds ish or whatever. He led the team in as a freshman in receptions and yards, and let's see, he had 17.5 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. And then he had a knee injury last year and didn't play at all. So that was another, reason that doesn't really help their 3-win season last year. But he's back this year. So they have weapons on the outside. But
Rudacek or whatever his name is?
Rudolph is his name.
Rudolph, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Trayvon Rudolph.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was just looking at a little bit of their stats ahead of time, I don't see them being anything we're going to have to worry too much about on the defensive side of the ball. Feels like it should be a pretty clean game for them to play. Lots and lots
For
of guys
Northern
on the field.
Illinois' defense?
No, for us.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm saying their offensive stats don't show me anything that I'm not worried about them this week. Not worried about them this week. I feel like it's going to be a get-right game for hopefully everybody on the field, but definitely to make the defense feel better about the second half last week and at least something in there for quarterback, hopefully.
This game has been a little tough for me to look at because it's like I do think Northern Illinois is going to be a lot better than they were last year. Whatever that means is I don't know, but then you look at last week and they get beat by Southern Illinois, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to say that
Rhule
they're going to
kinda
be
said
better,
that was
and it's
odd,
like,
too.
After they beat Boston College, it didn't really
Yeah.
make much sense.
Right? It wasn't like a 12-10 score or something
Yeah,
like that. It was
yeah.
real
14 to 11.
yeah, I was just going to say, I
I
think
14 to
one of them had
11,
11. Yeah, yeah.
light scoring affair.
Yeah. And kind of an ugly game. It was just not. No. Somebody asked me, like, are you going to go back and watch the game? I'm like, no. I watch a lot of fucking football, but I'm not going back to watch that.
It's
game.
also tough
Wait,
when they're
hang on. You listened to their podcasts, but you didn't watch the game?
Yeah.
the thing for me is how much you're really going to get out of their game.
Yeah.
Other than seeing their schemes, whatever. But how much are you really going to get out of their game when you're watching them play an opponent like, what did you say?
Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get much out of that. You're not going to see, like, speed's not comparable. All those different things are just really aren't comparable on the field. Do we have anything else before we get into the questions, or we want to get into embarrassing ourselves with some estimations?
I got nothing else.
I'm going to do so good this week.
Let's somebody get more than 3, huh?
Yeah, no shit. God.
Well, how many do we have this time?
I've got potential. I'm going to have 8 questions eventually, but
Eight,
I
okay.
was kind of waiting to type out this 8th one to kind of see how the conversation was going to go because I'm not sure what I want the number to be yet. So I will figure out the number in a little bit. But
Couple updates on the depth chart. I don't know if you've seen that yet today. Lenhart is listed as an or now, not second behind Gunnarsson. Only other update that I saw that I thought was kind of major is you saw Malachi Coleman creep up to that 2 spot in the wide receiver 1.
Interesting. Well, that leads me up to a question I was going to ask you guys as well, too, is did Sims practice today?
No.
Uh-oh.
well, they were practicing tonight, so I don't know. I haven't looked.
Practice was this morning. Workout was tonight. And they said and Satterfield said in his press conference this afternoon he did not practice this morning. He was expected to be at the workout.
Yeah.
And that they said they're going to put his health first. But if he's healthy enough to be on the field, he's going to be on the field.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
If they do not seem like they're just going to lay down and let him have this week off to see what else they've got. It does not look like it's in the plans.
Does he play?
I would assume so.
I have to say so too.
I don't know if he'll be in there the entire game. It kind of depends on how the game goes, I suppose. But like they said, if he's healthy, I want to see him on the field because I want to see him get some shit right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think this would be a good confidence booster.
This week and next
For
week
him, fingers
are
crossed,
his
but-
chances to get things correct
Yeah.
up here.
Yes.
We will find out more tomorrow when Rhule talks again. But if we had to ask this question right now on Wednesday when we're recording this, if I think Sims is going to play, I'd say no.
What leads you to believe that?
That's just my total guess prediction. I don't.
Do you think he's actually that injured?
I think it's maybe that injured at least for a game and also kind of precautionary just to make sure he's good for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that makes
High
sense.
ankle sprains are a bitch, man.
Well, Rhule actually addressed that
Yeah.
on Tuesday. He said they told me on the field it was a high or suspected high ankle sprain. He said that's not really the case. He said it's kind of just more of a tweak. It's not really something that serious. So he expected it, if it was going to be not this week, that it was only going to be a week off.
I feel like if it was actually that kind of injury, we wouldn't even hear about him being on the field for the next couple of weeks.
right.
No, Rhule's been very
easily,
forthright with that
easily.
stuff.
Those are so hard to come back from at any age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, 4 or 5 weeks typically.
That can bother you
you're
for a
gonna do it.
season,
Yep.
especially if you push it.
I just also think, I guess if he does, I don't know that he's going to play very long. I guess that's,
And
kind
that's
of more-
Maybe you don't have to play him that long.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully.
I think you need to get him out there and show the fans he can actually run the offense. B, show himself he can actually run the offense.
Dude needs some confidence back.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Exactly.
I
He
could
needs
not agree with
He
you
needs
more.
some confidence that's against somebody other than our own defense.
And you know what? The fans need some confidence back too.
That's what I mean.
Exactly. The sheer irony of we finally get a center that can snap the ball perfectly and get a quarterback that can't catch it. But,
Well,
I mean, come on.
And again-
What, are we the Jets now? Are we the Jets now?
Fucking stop it. Stop
Nebraska's
it right
the new-
now.
Nebraska's the new Jets of the college
We do not have
football.
a butt fumble. You shut up.
and this is not a complete defense, but at the Colorado game, not all those snaps were perfect.
No.
But
No. And one of them
He's
was his
actually-
fault.
The
He
one-
came
the
into
one-
a guy that was in
The
motion.
ones that he dropped
You know,
were
and-
perfect. So again, I'm not defending this. I'm just saying there were times where Sims was going to the sides and going low
Well, maybe
to catch some
we
of those.
need to
but-
make him think about the snap a little bit more.
Here's my thing, though. You shouldn't be running silent count, pre-snap motion shit that needs timed out. You shouldn't be running that stuff when you can't hear anything. Like that. Those were play calling errors, like we talked about. Like you mentioned it. I'm not crushing Satterfield just yet, but those are situational play calling errors that it's like.
What are you
the
only going to
fuck?
run those plays at home?
No, you just don't run them when you have to use a silent snap count because it's too loud.
And an away crowd with loud noise.
Yeah, you don't run pre-motion snap that's all timed, or pre-snap motion that's all timed if you can't hear the cadence.
Especially when you're not prepared for crowd noise, I guess.
That's the one
I don't
thing
want to talk about that.
we've talked about.
Well, I'll get into it.
That's the
Stay
worry-
positive here, guys. We're going to stay positive.
That's
okay?
the worrisome thing is why are we worried about crowd noise in 52,000 seat stadiums?
When half of it was us.
Especially when,
What are we gonna do when we're in the horseshoe, the 100,000,
Yeah.
up in Ann Arbor with 110,000?
It's okay. We'll have things fixed by then.
Yeah.
We'll have things fixed by then. Yeah. We got 2 weeks.
I think these next
Well,
2 weeks
Michigan's
are going
back
to be,
home. So.
Yeah.
I think these next 2 weeks are going to be very important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about the confidence thing, man. I really couldn't. We need to get the yips out of that guy's head. You know, like it just.
Well, I don't know. Those
get him,
hands
get
aren't
him,
yips.
get him
Those are just
smiling
bad
again.
hands. But
Get him smiling again. You know, 'Cause
And get his head right about, hey, motherfucker, if you are going to drop it, fall on it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought it was an interesting thing that Rhule talked about his own like mental growth when Turner, who did he say?
Ron Brown.
Ron Brown pointed out, hey, in practice, we're hitting in practice, but we're telling him get out of the way if you drop the ball.
Yeah.
He said so. That's we're not practicing it this way. That's why he's not doing it in a game.
yeah.
I mean, we've talked about how the defense looks so much better this year because they're actually practicing things. It's second nature. If his second nature because of practice is don't dive on the ball, that is on the coach. It's on the coaches.
Well, I mean, a lot of things that are worrisome with me about Jeff Sims. I'm not going to get in a Jeff Sims bashing thing. I just won't. I don't think he deserves that. I think we got some serious problems to work out with him right now. But I loved what you said on the post game show about he needs some help from the team. It's not all one man. It's a team thing. I totally agree with you on that. But kind of going back to being a third-year player, fourth-year player in college football, and a lot of those natural instincts that he has, at what point in time can those not be coached out anymore? You
That's
know what
fair.
I mean? Staring
That's
down
fair.
receivers, timing on the ball.
the staring down
It's
the
like
receivers
it's
thing
like
is
the
bad.
conversation that went down with Tommy Armstrong and Adrian Martinez. Throughout the years, everybody's like, "Well, don't do." When is he not going to do this? When are they not going to do that? And at some point, you are the player that you are.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's my concern.
I don't know that is with Jeff Sims. I hope not. But at the same time, we also have history of other people. They are just who they are.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with what you said on the last show as far as that showing effort, as far as just not jumping on the ball. I don't disagree with that.
It explained some of the practice thing though. Explained a little
Absolutely
bit of
does. But I'm going to go back to what I said when I talked about the Jeff Sims stuff. Multiple things can be correct at once. Yes, it is an effort issue,
Right.
but I also look at it and say, these guys are pressing like crazy. And Jeff Sims, I kind of like to look, I want to look at that and just say he was trying to make a play. Like he was trying to pick up the ball and make a play.
Rhule
He made
kinda touched on
he
that,
made a
too.
stupid decision ultimately.
Yeah.
But in the moment, you're pressing. You're like, we got to get points on the board.
I get it.
We can't move the ball. I need to make a play because I'm the quarterback.
Yeah, but the first one was the first drive of the game.
And again, I agree with you. Like I said, multiple things can be correct at once. I just look at it as, yeah, it was a mistake, but can you really fault the guy if he's trying to make
It doesn't
a play?
excuse it, but it kind of allows you to see his headspace a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, like on that interception in the Colorado game, I think it was that out route that he threw. I think it was Alex Bullock, when he was on the little out route.
Yeah.
Um,
And he stared him down the
he
whole
stared,
fucking
but
way.
he was open. He was open.
He was
It was,
open.
it was a timing thing.
When exactly, it's a timing thing. When he's on his break on that route, ball is released. Should already be in the air, and now he's out of the break. The ball's practically in his hands. That's a game. That's a first down. But he stared him down for so long
Yeah.
that the D-back read it and was like, "I know where he's going." Broke on the ball.
Yeah.
And,
How much of that from a timing perspective do you think is being affected by the fact that normally wouldn't be Alex Bullock? That would be IGC or prior to that Betts.
I don't know that it normally wouldn't be because, he's even with IGC, he was in the top 4 or 5 as far as wide receivers.
No,
getting out
you're
there.
totally right.
So-
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Okay.
he wasn't the first primary target up until the last week.
Also,
before the
that's
season
only
started.
an 8-yard out route. There's not that big of a timing difference there.
I mean, it doesn't
That's fair.
matter who the wide receiver is. When you're open, and you have
That's
to deliver
fair.
the ball there. You know what I mean?
And Alex
That's fair.
Bullock's also been one of the
Especially when you two are making eye contact the entire
The
time.
entire time.
You just didn't know there was a third party.
You could see his eyes, but he was before he
It's
turned
not, the,
around.
ni-
like,
it's not the 90s Huskers when they're going up to the line and telling the defense exactly what they're about to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And
But-
afterwards, I'm gonna go fuck your mother.
it wasn't Larry Bird. Jesus.
But again, hopefully some of those things are fixable and they just need a little bit more time. I mean, he's in a new system with a new coach and everything like that. But, I mean,
Well, and I feel for
something
him.
needs to be addressed.
I feel
Yes.
for him. He has to play our defense 5 days a week. Like,
You'd think he'd be a rock star by now, right?
I was going to say, at the same time, you would say then he should be playing better against not as good defenses.
That or he's just taking L's 5 days a week
Yeah.
and then going out there and playing on Saturday.
He's just getting fucking absolutely whipped all
He
week
hates
long.
his life right now.
Which would then go back to us talking about how he just needs some confidence.
Absolutely.
He needs to go beat up on somebody that's a little smaller than him.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
6'4", 220 or 240. Go beat up on somebody. Exactly.
Seriously.
Go run somebody over.
Let's do some stuff. Throw up 300 or 400 yards this week and call it a day.
I want to see over 500 yards of total offense this weekend.
Oh, for the game for sure.
Oh,
But I'm
over
saying
500
get
yards
him
total
300 or
offense.
400, maybe by halftime,
Yeah.
and get him out. Jed, what's the questions, man? Are you ready, or are you still typing over there?
No,
And over
I
25
was just typing
minimum.
up some other stuff.
25 points minimum.
Oh yeah.
Maybe score in the first half.
If we can't get
That you know how happy champagne would be falling from the heavens. Velvet ropes will unfold. I
Lord
mean, my
knows it
God,
won't be
yes.
balloons.
We'd actually bring the balloons back. We score in the first half.
Jeez.
First question I have is Nebraska pass plays of 20-plus yards. We only have 2 on the season, and only one of those has, as far as air yards, was over 20 yards. Northern Illinois has allowed 4. Sims has completed 1 of 3 passes beyond 20 yards. So it's not like we throw the ball downfield much. One of the reasons why I brought up this question was Rhule also talked about in the press conference the other day that they want to open up the offense more. They want to take more shots downfield. So hopefully against
for the sake of the run game, we have to.
in a game that's quote unquote against a lesser opponent, I find that hard to believe, hard to say, not just with Nebraska's recent history, but also we lost to Northern Illinois a handful of years ago. So
Yeah.
Wasn't that still
We've
Riley?
been down this road before.
yeah, Tanner Lee throwing 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The good old days.
That was my youngest Dale's first game.
Oh,
What a first game.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't like football.
I feel bad for our kids, man, because they weren't around to see what it used to be like. You know what I mean?
Just kidding,
Yeah.
Dale. I don't know if you like football or not.
He ain't watching.
I have to take my oldest a day by day just to help him understand.
Yeah.
You know what we're going.
Is it that new gym that's out there?
No, that's the movie.
That's the
Oh,
Husker
that
movie.
documentary movie.
Yeah.
But the number on Nebraska pass plays of 20-plus yards, I put it at 4.5. I know that sounds a lot because we only have 2 on the season. But again, I'm going off of hopefully Rhule talking about opening up the offense and wanting to get the ball downfield a little bit more.
Is this attempts or
You
completions?
said it at 4.5.
Yeah, completions.
4.5.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I know.
Woof.
I could maybe get there if it was attempts. I don't see us having
Okay,
5.
3.5. How about that? Does that change you at all?
Quit moving the
Well,
goalpost.
you also got to
Donovan.
remember this doesn't have to be completions that were completed after 20 yards. And they just have to get more.
It
than
could be
20
Billy
yards.
Kemp catching the ball
Yeah.
8 yards downfield and then breaking one.
Well, then over.
I don't know if you caught on or not. I don't know whether you're an avid watcher. Matt has a massive.
I am an
erection.
avid watcher, and I have subscribed, and I like it. And you know what? Do the right thing, guys. Hit the subscribe button. But like, do it
I'll
too.
see you out there.
Do it too. But
Matt's a huge Billy Kemp fan.
Yeah.
okay. Question for you then, Billy.
Bonerama over here.
Do you just give you a little deja vu with some Wandell a little bit?
A little bit. He's got the speed for sure.
He even kind of looks like him. I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think kind of looks like him.
A little bit, yeah.
When he has the ball in his hands, I get very excited because he's a very quick little man.
He's shifty as fuck too.
One
He
other
looks
thing
like he's
that-
about 3 foot on the field, though. He gets out there, and it's like a make-a-wish kid out there.
I think,
He's excited to be on
We
the
got
field.
Team Jack is in the house today.
dude, the dude goes like Pacheco too, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's going like full speed.
It's 0 to
like,
100 like that.
Yeah, I think we got a future rock star with him. Maybe even a current rock star. I mean, I don't know, but I like him.
You just
I
gotta
like
get him the
everything
ball.
about him. Yeah,
He almost
give
has
him
to
the
be
ball.
current, doesn't
His-
he? Isn't he a senior this year?
Yeah. This is
His,
last year. This is his last year.
Oh, is he?
his
That last
little
year, huh?
his little 5-yard
Get him
curl that he
going.
caught for 20 yards last
He
week.
played.
Get him going.
He was at Virginia for 5 years, so
I thought he might have had one more, but
He's like
that's
30,
all right. Get him
something
going.
like that. But
Get him going.
so you got over at 4.5 then.
if it's just
It's
passing plays
Play-
over,
Yeah, the ball does not have to go over 20 yards.
then I'll take the over
the plays
at
over
3.5,
20 yards.
like you gave it to me.
Is it total plays or passing plays?
Passing plays. Oh, you want me to move it down to 3.5?
I don't care. That's what you told me.
No, I asked.
I'll
you.
take it at 3.5.
think
You guys
I
do
asked
4.5.
I feel like 3.5 is a better number, especially
That's fine
for this opponent.
I'll move it to 3.
Here's the thing, though: if Jeff Sims winds up not playing, I don't see that happening.
That's why
Because
I'm going to take.
Harburg
I'm
is
taking
not
the
throwing
under
the ball.
because of my prediction that I don't think Jeff Sims is playing. I'm taking the under
That's,
because of that reason.
that's easy enough. I do think Jeff Sims will play. I'm going to take the over just simply because of that.
I don't like my
And
company
because
so far.
I did hear that Purdy might be healthy enough to be 100% go now. So if that's the case, he will get – if Jeff Sims doesn't play, you're going to see a true tandem quarterback situation where you're going to see anytime we're going to be throwing the ball or put in, third and long situations, Purdy's going to be the one coming at the ball.
I probably would take the over if I was confident Sims was going to play, but that's why I'm taking the under. What about you?
My bet with my heart or my wallet, guys. What am I doing here?
Those are the best questions.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think – all right. I'm going to bet with my heart on this one. I'm going to take the overs. I think even with Sims out, I think they're going to try to let these guys throw the ball a little bit, see what they got.
I want to see what our young guys can do.
You think they would let Harburg do it?
I do. I think the guy can throw the ball. I think he was just so jacked up in Colorado on adrenaline that he sailed that ball 20 yards. You know what I mean? But
that was a bad miss.
But
not that he was open anyway, but that was a bad miss.
I think they're going to see what they got. I think they're like, okay, well, we better find out what we got behind him. So let these guys sling it around a little bit. So I'll take the overs. We say 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the overs.
Matt, you said you want to see what the young guys can do. You talking the wide receivers?
Yeah,
Get them
absolutely. We
finally
got a
out there.
lot of young talent out there.
Yeah.
Throw them the ball.
Yeah.
This is it.
They've been getting on the field.
They didn't
just
have
don't
any
throw them the
targets
ball
last week, did they?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this: the three main freshmen, true freshmen, 2 of them are on the depth chart now.
Yeah.
Because you got Malachi and Jalen Lloyd on there behind wide receiver 1.
Well, they moved up because they finally took IGC off of there.
Okay.
Too, specifically. Because IGC was still on the depth chart for the Colorado game.
If they're on the field, that counts towards their game.
He's on the
Throw the
surgery
goddamn
table.
ball.
He's in our hearts.
Question number 2, sacks by Nebraska's defense. I know we had a lot more than what I put the number at, but I'm just doing what the average so far is for Nebraska, 5.5. We're averaging 5.5 per game.
That's a tough one with
And I'm
how
putting it 5.5.
experienced the Illinois line is.
They've given up 5 so far this year. They gave up 5 against Southern Illinois. Or they gave up 3. I'm sorry, not 5.
I'll kick this one off. I'm going over.
Okay. And again, Northern Illinois was 7th best all year in the country last year.
I'm going over mostly just because of the fact that Shedeur Sanders is extremely athletically gifted. It didn't seem to matter last week. And their offensive line's not going to be any better than what Colorado was running out there.
Yeah.
I think it depends on if Rocky Lombardi is like super offended and like butthurt and stuff, like Shedeur Sanders was.
Well, Matt Rhule lives to he wakes up every day just to make sure that he can piss somebody off.
You better not go disrespect whatever their mascot is. I don't even know.
It's a husky.
Okay. You better not go disrespect their dog.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What do you got, Matt?
Fuck. I'm going to take the under because I think we're going to be at 5
Okay.
for the game. I still think our D-line eats.
Yep.
But I don't think – 8 is a shit ton.
Yeah.
So,
We're not getting to 8.
Yeah.
More than likely, I guess. I am going to – I like the 5, but I'm going to go with the over just because I think they're going to be jacked being at home. Even though Rocky Lombardi's already played at Memorial Stadium once, so.
Yeah,
I'm tired of only winning 2, so I'm glad to be the odd man out for a couple of these.
What do you think, Mike?
You know what? I like where your head's at. I'm going to go with the overs on this one too. I think being at home, they're going to be jacked. I think I'm going to say when our offense wakes up this weekend, that's going to get him even more jacked.
Mm-hmm.
You notice last week, the second that Ty got back in the game, he absorbed the double team like instantly. Yep. So I think that's going to open up some lanes. So I'll go the overs on it.
Yes, especially with Ty playing the entire game this time.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Everything you guys are saying makes sense. I'll be happy to be wrong on this one.
You got something?
No, all I was going to say about that was the speculation and the little undercurrent started coming out this week that Ty Robinson, pro scouts are wanting to see him play a little bit more, this and that. He starts to draw a little more of that attention, especially with what Hotmacher's doing. Those dudes on the outside are just going to continue to eat. You're going to continue to see Prince Will and Lenhart and
Sorry, who?
Gunnarsson. Prince Will?
Your mom's a yelling.
Your mama yelling.
Sometime we're gonna have to get that corrected. I don't know how to say it correctly, but we're gonna have to get that corrected at some point.
You want me to play it on here?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't care that much.
Okay.
I think we need a your mama yelling as a button on.
Oh,
here. We
absolutely.
can replace this terrible.
Husker speed.
Yeah, we can get that done. We can get that done. But yeah, I think those guys are just going to continue to eat, and we're staying healthy. That's the best part up there
You
up
knock
front.
on wood right now. Why would
Yeah,
you say that?
with
Why
the
would you say
exception
that?
of a crown to the face mask in the Minnesota game, we've been very, very clean up front. So
You know what? I kind of trust our training staff so far this year.
That
we
too.
do seem just like healthier, thicker, more athletic all around. So
Yeah.
that's part of why our defense looks the way they do.
That's a good point.
Question number 3, total punt returns by your boy, Billy Kemp. I know last week I lowered it, and I said I'll probably lower it again if we don't hit the number. Of course, we didn't. But this week I actually raised it to 19.5 because Northern Illinois has punted a lot this year so far. They've got 10 punts already on the year. The only problem is that there has not been one return by Northern Illinois' opponents yet. I don't know if that's necessarily competition or whatever else.
they have a really short punter. He's averaging 21 yards a punt.
Like, is that serious?
No.
No, I have no idea what the stat is.
I was like, that's going to change my opinion on this majorly.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't put the number up that high.
Billy,
If that
sit
was
back
the
there.
case.
We're going to kick it a second time for him.
Billy's lined up as the middle linebacker on
Yeah.
the punt return.
You just got to throw it to you.
It looks like a field goals formation. I'll take the over on that just simply because, yeah, I really think we're gonna have to do some things in special teams to get people excited in this game. It'll happen.
Just
What are we talking about? Overall total return yards for him?
total return punt
on
return
punt
yards.
return yards 19.
19 and a
That
half.
doesn't sound like
Just
a
want
big
to make sure I
number.
had that right.
But how
It's-
many total did we have for the entire season for the entire team last year?
Well, we only had 5 returns.
Yeah, but how many total yards? It was like
It was
three,
like
wasn't it?
no,
No, it was 80, but that's because there was that one.
that one blocked return.
Yeah.
That was like 60 yards.
Yeah, so in real life we had like 20 total for
yeah,
the whole season.
it was
Yeah. Okay.
And now he's talking about 20 total in a game.
Yeah.
One game.
Yeah.
By the way, Northern Illinois' punter, he averages 38.2 yards per punt.
God, sounds like a lot of fair catches, doesn't it? Fair catches at the 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if that changes, your
Mike, what do you
thought
think?
process
Nope,
at
you already
all.
locked in.
Oh, I feel like the kid in school that doesn't know the answer to the question, so he just picks C the whole way down. Just going overs. I'm gonna go overs. I got a feeling if he gets his hands on one, he's gonna peel off. So I'll go overs.
This is another one that I'm going to be real glad to be wrong on, but I'm taking the under. At 38 yards does not feel like that much
Per punt, yeah.
per punt.
Yeah, it's
So-
not.
And I think he's going to be busy enough doing other things in the game that he might be a little gassed. You might want to take a breather on those punt returns. So
Yeah, I've resigned myself to no matter what the number is until they prove me otherwise. I'm going under now because they keep kicking.
I'd love to see him
It's
break
just-
one.
absolutely.
And be so wrong on this.
Yes.
But
Watch, he's gonna get 21 on his first one.
All he needs is 20. And it's the over, so it's just
To tell you guys though, where
What happens if they place the ball on the half-yard line and he gets 19 and a half? You just call it a push?
it's just a push.
to tell you guys
Everybody
though,
loses.
where they rank right now, just throw this out there. They rank 60th right now
in
for
what?
average distance.
On punts?
Yes,
Yeah.
in all of college football, which is only, they're right behind. Tennessee is 5 ahead of them. Arizona State's right there. Wisconsin's right there. Purdue's right there. All under 50.
Juggernauts.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
I know. I'm no.
I'm simply saying, like, you expect Wisconsin probably has a decent punter. You expect Tennessee probably has a decent punter, even though he might not get used more than like 3 times all season
Yeah.
long. I'm just saying 38.5 is not that far down. Because if you really start looking at it, to get into the high 30s, like here we're looking at 29 is 42.89 yards. So there's only a 3-yard difference there on average punts. The top end is 53.
All your math sounds great.
I'm just pointing it out here, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving you numbers, bro. That's all I'm doing.
Billy, prove me wrong, man.
Absolutely.
Get him one time, Billy. One time for me. Come on.
You can do it every time. You just 20 yards every single time you catch a punt. That'd be fine.
Question number 4, interceptions by Nebraska's defense. You know, all the talk is how many turnovers we give up. We need to start taking the ball away. We only have 1 interception on the season so far. And Rocky Lombardi threw 3 interceptions last week against Southern Illinois. I'm putting the number at 1.5 interceptions by Nebraska's defense.
Over.
I was going to say 2. I thought was a safe bet, so I'm going over as well.
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, I don't think that's going to be our only turnovers from the game.
I agree with that.
I think, and I'm kind of baffled that we got to the quarterback 8 times last week, and we never once pulled the ball away.
And not just took the ball away, he never dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, especially if we're hitting him that much in the backfield, we could see a fumble or 2.
And how many times was he halfway to the ground before he jacked a ball up that went crazy? Yeah. Like we could have had over 10 sacks easy in that game.
Yeah.
So I don't think that'll be our only turnover, but if he's throwing the ball around and not being careful with it, our D-backs don't have bad hands. They haven't had good opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And he's throwing the ball a lot. He's got 66 attempts on the season through 2 games.
Yeah.
Wow, I think I'm going to take my first unders of the day, guys. I think I'm going to take my first unders. So,
all right.
I can't tell you how many times
Hater.
I yelled.
You have no faith in our defense? What are you talking about? You're so stupid, Mike.
I could not sing.
Is this because you hate Matt
praises
Rhule
anymore?
You hate Matt Rhule?
I told you I wasn't a Matt Rhule guy.
You think our defense is terrible?
I told you. Who's that Tony White guy?
Jerk.
I can't tell you how many times I yelled at the TV last week and yelled to the people I was watching, God, we're due. God, we're due for a turnover. God, we're due for a turnover. It's got to be coming with all that pressure that we were having all day and with how locked down our secondary is playing all week. I am just absolutely mind-boggled how it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
But I think our defense is going to light it up. I think we're going to have a good day on sacks. I think we're going to get some fumbles this weekend too, probably coming off pass rush and off sacks, blindside, something like that.
But no faith in the picks.
But I'm saying we're going to have pick. But I'm just going to go 1. I'm just going to go 1. I'm going to go 1
Hey,
pick.
I like
Sticking
one.
with the theme.
I like one.
I'm going to go
He's
1
sticking
pick.
with the theme. He's like, I've seen 1 a game. Let's get one
Go
more.
1.
I'll take it.
I respect it.
1 interception, 2 fumbles.
It's fair. I like that.
I'd love that.
I like the 2 number on the interception, so I'm going to go with the over as well. Question number 5, Gabe Ervin rushing yards. Let's just see if he can get to 100. So 99.5. He had 74 last week.
I was going to ask you, it's something like 75.
74 last week, but what, 22 to 25 of them came on 1 run?
Yeah.
And
We have not had a running back go for 100-plus since the Minnesota game last year at the beginning of November.
Well, here's the question, and I don't know if you added this in there or not. I know we talked about it when we were talking about questions, but
It'll be coming.
you did?
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much is Anthony Grant going to get back in the game? Does he have a great week of practice?
Depending on how you guys answer this question specifically is where I'm going to manipulate my number for how many carries of Anthony Grant.
I don't know if they're going to see enough in practice to give him that much of an opportunity. I think he's going to get a couple shots early probably to prove himself. And if he holds onto the ball, he might carry it equal to Gabe Ervin.
Split.
So
I'm not letting you talk me into this like you did last week.
I'm just simply saying I'm going to take the under. I'm taking a prove it stance on Gabe Ervin getting over that 100-yard mark.
I'm taking the
makes
under
sense,
too for a very different reason, and that is Colorado was able to completely sell out on the run almost every single play last week, and it worked. And I think Illinois is going to be able to do the exact same thing. So until we can start passing the ball around, we're not going to be able to run.
Or until
Chunk
Turner
plays like we
Corcoran
want
can
to.
actually hold a block.
Yeah. Either one, honestly. I don't see us being able to
Go
run
down that rabbit hole.
the way that we should be able to, just because there's 11 guys who can go after the runner.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with the unders as well too. I think on this one. How many touches? How many touches did he have last week? Was it
17.
17. Oof. I think Anthony Grant's gonna see some touches this week. I think he paid his dues last week. I think he's gonna put him back in the game. I think they're gonna split a lot of touches. So I'm gonna go. The unders.
I also think we see a lot more plays run this week by our offense anyway. There's going to be a lot of 3 and outs on their side of the ball.
As long as we aren't putting the ball on the ground, I could see the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go with the over just because I think he's going to break one.
Think he's going to bust one
Yeah.
out? Well, he's busted one in both games. He just hasn't.
I
done
think
a
he's
lot
going to break
outside
one
of
for
that.
like 40 plus.
Yeah.
Again,
Please God.
Our speed should should look pretty elite on against this Northern Illinois team.
Hopefully.
I would imagine.
yeah,
Husker speed.
Hopefully.
I'm happy to lose all of these bets if it means we have a great fucking game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or at least a complete game.
When's the last time we just put up 70 and just sat back
Hey,
and was like,
quit
hey,
being greedy.
I'm not
Shut
going.
the
I'm not
fuck
going
up.
that
Quit being
far.
greedy.
I'm not going.
I want
that
I want to see it. I want to see 70.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
even
but-
care what the score looks like. I want to see our offense look right.
Give me 56-7.
Just shut
Give
the
him a garbage
fuck
time
up.
touchdown.
I just want to see more than 25 points total
Yeah.
scored in the damn game. You know what I mean? Like in the whole
You're starting
damn
to sound
game.
like
But-
sound like Brian Ferentz here. Oh, baby Ferentz.
Oh man. Well, it's really going to boil down to the offensive line, man. I mean, like where they looked in the second half against Minnesota, they actually started looking the way that our offensive line should. Started wearing down the defensive line. Haven't seen a lot of that.
I just can't figure out why we got Ben Hart fixed seemingly, and the problems moved over to the left side. Corcoran can't fucking block anybody.
Well, he's not a real
And
tackle.
I realize
And
he's a
Piper's not
guard.
playing well either.
I realize he's a guard, but it's wildly frustrating. And apparently, Prohaska was 100% go last week and barely saw the field. I don't know how many snaps he had. It couldn't have been more than 5. If he's healthy, why the hell are we not getting him out there and getting Corcoran on the inside? I just don't get it.
Well, clearly,
maybe
either he's
we
not
will.
healthy enough, or he just is not conditioned enough.
But Corcoran has quickly taken my Bryce Benhart's a bitch stance real fast. Like, Benhart, you've been good so far this year.
I don't think Teddy played at all last week. I don't see.
I know they said he was 100% go before the game and that he would see the field, but I don't know if he got on.
Well, I'm looking at the snap chart right here, and I don't see him on there.
Nothing?
At all. Nope.
Wow.
So clearly he wasn't a go.
No.
But they need him. I mean,
We need something.
yeah.
Kind of out of excuses for the offensive line. I'm going to say I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, BJ. I said I'm not going to go there.
Do it.
I'm not gonna
Go down
there,
it.
But
Go down it.
all right, look, jeez. Yeah. So I kind of didn't really want to head down the rabbit hole with the offensive line, but I mean, I'm out of excuses for these guys. Like I really am. A lot of these guys have been here 5 years plus, started over 60 games. Like, dude, go out there and hurt somebody.
More than 120 starts between the 5 of them.
Go out there.
Don't even hurt
and
somebody. Just do your fucking job for a
Well,
little bit.
yeah. I mean, but I mean, like, you know, with the amount of experience that you have and the amount of size advantage you have over a lot of these teams, like, dude, we had a healthy size advantage over Colorado's defensive line. Healthy. Dude, go put somebody to bed, man. Like, just go do your job, open up a hole, pass protect appropriately, give your guy some time.
Well, and I don't even know what Colorado did. Their defensive line was abysmal their first week. And I didn't think that TCU's offensive line was that much better than ours.
No.
But yes, they were selling out on the run quite a bit more against us. But
That was the
holy
thing.
shit.
They knew we were no threat down. They knew we were no
But
threat
still,
throwing the ball, period.
Their line still looked more aggressive. They looked more aggressive than our offensive line.
Yeah.
You should
Boggling.
We have to give Colorado credit for what they did well. They coached the hell out of that game, and their players were prepared.
I would agree. But a lot of the times that you should be able to do a simple thing when you have a 50-pound weight advantage over somebody. You should be able to just move them where you need to move them.
I agree. That's what I said about Bryce Benhart for the last 2 fucking seasons.
Jesus, man. But no, you're right. I mean, give them credit. They had a good game plan against us, shut down the run because that's what we're going to try to do, and for the most part, they kind of did.
Question number 6. Northern Illinois rushing yards per attempt. Nebraska is allowing 1.95. We are top 5 in the country in that
Fucking
aspect.
awesome.
Love it.
Northern Illinois.
And we played Minnesota in there.
Yeah. Northern Illinois is their offense is going for a 2.79 per rush attempt.
Oh my God, they're not even good.
No. I'm putting the number at 2.5.
Under all day.
Yeah, I think
Under all day.
you have to take the goddamn under there.
Well,
Jesus.
I'm factoring in the sacks that I already said we're going over 5.5 too, because those count as negative rush yards.
Yeah.
So I really think this is probably similar to the 55 yards that we gave up total on the ground in the Minnesota game. I could see a very similar number here.
Okay.
Yeah, no, completely agree.
And they're going to try and run the ball nonstop because they want to get this game over with and get their paycheck as fast as they possibly can.
Matt, under.
I don't want to see them get any positive yards. That'd be great.
We held you to negative 4 yards. What do you think about that? I'm taking a quarter of your check back.
Fucking love it.
Sign me up, baby. Let's take the unders. Let's take the unders.
It's just simple
Sold
math.
him.
Yeah.
Sold him.
Just to be a dick, I'm going to go against the grain and say over.
Enjoy that.
I mean, you said you're going under because of what you did. You took the over on sacks. I took the under on sacks. So
Well, I just don't see. I mean, under 2.5 yards rushing given up, especially given the opponents that we've played so far. It's kind of an unrealistic number to continue.
yeah.
So I see it, but at the same time, if I'm expecting we get 6+ sacks,
Yeah, I took the under on
even
sacks.
even if we only get 5 sacks and they average 2, you're still getting a negative 10 yards there. Give up 60.
Well, it's not just sacks. It's also tackles for loss. I mean,
No, yeah.
'cause we had a shit ton of those too.
That's my
so
point.
if
I
you're
was
right.
like,
You took the
I
under on
took
sacks.
the
I
under,
had you for over.
I took it as 5.
Okay, then I
So
mismarked
I
you.
took the under, but I see us being in the backfield a lot. Tackles for loss. I
Get you some
see.
fucking Big Macs this weekend,
Yeah.
buddy.
Fucking amen.
Did you go get yours on Monday?
No, I didn't go get mine on Monday.
Number 7, Northern Illinois' third down conversions for their offense. Nebraska is allowing 51.4%. As great as everybody's hyping up the offense, that's one thing we need to get off the field on third downs. And
It was bad in the Colorado game.
yeah,
It was good in the first half, but second half it was like every third down they got in the second half they completed.
Getting a first down after 2nd and 25 hurts.
I was going to reference that one as well, too.
I've got the number at 40%. Nebraska is allowing 51%. Northern Illinois is converting 53% on the season. I know that sounds like I should probably have that number higher than 40, but I also think that we are much better than the teams that Northern Illinois has played for them to have such a high number. So
I just said we're going to have a lot of 3 and outs, so I got to take the under, I guess.
okay.
I hate agreeing with BJ, but
I'm not giving much analysis here. I feel like I've trapped myself backed myself into a corner in some of these questions because I've already said something, and it's like, well, now if I go against that by picking this,
you never heard about hedging your bets? You're just all in?
No, not like that.
No, I see us going under, too. I don't see them moving the ball well
Yeah.
this week at all. Them being Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
That's
Mike?
a hard number, man. That's a hard number.
Jed should work for Vegas.
Yeah, you got pretty good lines, man. Pretty close lines. I'll go under.
What do we do in the Minnesota game? It was like 36%, wasn't it?
It's 47%, by the way. Nebraska, he put out this tweet 2 days ago. Nebraska's defense ranks 120th in the country in third down conversions at 51.4%. By down in distance, from 1 to 3 yards, it's 57%. 4 to 7 yards, it's 56%. And from 8 or more yards, it's been 19 times. They've converted 9 of the 19 times for 47%.
Wow.
Like, that's not good.
No.
It's kind of embarrassing with how good our defense has played.
That's the weird thing. Like, again, the defense has played great, but there are certain things where when you look deeper into what they've been doing, it's like there's some things that they got to improve on too. And they know that too, because they even brought it up. Like, we got to get off the field in third down. One of the players talked about it the other day in their things. I don't remember which one.
Rhule
it was.
mentioned it this week, too.
It's like,
Well, just
you got to
talking
get
about
off
how
the field on third down.
the defense was fucking gassed by the end of the Colorado game. If they get out of some of those drives earlier, even the ones that they actually stopped them, and we got the ball back, if they
Field
just get out of
position.
them earlier,
Yeah.
that helps them out a ton.
I'd be curious to know how many of those were in the second half versus the first half.
Yeah.
Really curious to know that because, to your point, Matt, like how gassed they were. I mean, if we could keep our defense off the field for less than 35 minutes of the game.
Well, I mean, the time of
Yeah.
possession was almost
Yeah,
split.
yeah.
But here's the thing.
It was like 20-second difference as
Yeah,
far
but
as total.
was it really?
Yeah, but the
Oh,
second
wow.
half compared to the first half was insane.
Yeah.
We held the ball on our first drive. We held the ball for almost half the first quarter.
Yeah.
In the first half, it was like 18-11.
Yep.
Yeah.
18
It was
and
a
change.
massive flip in
And
the
then
second
literally
half.
in the second half, it was the exact same, but
Yeah.
opposite.
Colorado had the ball for 2/3 of the second half.
Felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our offense kept shooting us in the foot,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the fact that we are at altitude. We're not used to training in that shit. That's not an excuse; it's just a fact. Kind of like what Rhule was talking about in his press conferences. I don't know. I still like the number where you put it. I'm sticking with where I am.
Yeah.
I'm going with the under as well.
Tough number.
These are the two
I have
questions.
a hard time giving Northern Illinois that much credit.
I agree.
I'll be honest.
Like I
Hopefully,
said,
that's not to our demise.
when I put the number at 40 again,
Well, I'm not playing, so
when we are giving up 50% and they are converting 50%, putting the number at 40 sounded silly. But again, I just think that we're better than the competition that they've already played so far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Agreed.
The two questions that I added during this conversation, Anthony Grant.
maybe Southern Illinois is just a world beater this year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Southern Illinois did lose their defensive coordinator right before the season started. He went to Northwestern when they had all their shit happen.
Yep.
So losing your defensive coordinator in the middle of August, right before the season starts, kind of hurts.
They're 2-0.
Yeah. Anthony Grant carries for the game. I'm going to put this number. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me with the number, but initially I'm thinking
7.
I
thinking 10.
put it at 8.5 initially.
I was thinking 9-10.
Yeah.
So let's just stay with 8.5.
Sounds like I'm split with these two. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll take the under.
Okay.
I'll take the under just simply because I think he's going to get an opportunity for a series or two to show what he can do and show that he can hold on to the ball. But I also don't have faith that he's going to hold on to the fucking ball. He drops one.
If he drops the ball, he's out again.
yeah, he
Yeah,
drops
oh,
the ball.
yeah.
He might not see the field again until after Michigan.
Yeah.
Matt,
Fuck, I don't. What do we set it at?
8.5.
8.5. Say, I wanted you to put it at 10 so I could take the under.
I had started thinking about possibly 10 because all of you guys were talking about how you think you're going to see more of Grant. And maybe if he gets going, then maybe he gets more carries. But I'm going to keep it at 8.5.
Oh, that's a good number. That's a good number.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under because I think we're going to pass the ball more this game.
Okay.
I'm going to go over. I think they're going to test the waters here a little bit with him and try to figure out who's going to be our true bell cow for the rest of the season. That's true.
Well, we might be up by 35 at halftime, and he gets to run the whole second half.
God,
You-
I
you
love
might-
the way you guys talk. I absolutely do. God, I fucking love it.
I just heard something at the
So you
bottom.
may
That
be right.
Husker optimism that's coming right on back. It don't matter. It don't matter.
That's what makes me kind of want to take the over because I think if we're up big, then give
Fuck
him.
it. I just talked myself into it. Switch me. I'm taking the over.
Mike,
I talked myself
the Rhule
into it.
flows heavy down here in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still going to take the under, though, because I also think that Irvin is going to have a good game. So I'm just going to take the under.
But just like you said, if he's rolling and he's got a couple big ones, he's going to be gassed a little bit. They're gonna pull him after he gets at 120.
We'll see.
they aren't the only two running backs.
True. That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
you
that's
got
true.
Ramir Johnson, and
really,
maybe
really-
they want to get Emmett Johnson in there for some carries, too. So.
I really want to see more of the first. I think it was either the first or second play that Harburg was on the field. They trotted him out to the top with Ramir Johnson following behind. It looked like a traditional pitch option play. I really want to see some of that run with Jeff Sims with the ability to get out there with Ramir Johnson. I really, really want to see that, and they haven't. They only showed it the
If
one.
his ankle's still hurt, it's going to be hard to run that play. But
fair.
I agree with you.
Fuck it, Matt. Let's just throw Billy Kemp back there, too. Man. Let's
Dude, I'd do it.
Let's go.
Put him in as quarterback. I don't care.
Run the triple option with Billy Kemp,
Yeah.
too.
There we go.
Love it.
Last question I have is kind of a little bit of a jerk question, but let's just do it. First half points for Nebraska.
Fucking bitch.
I'm putting this number basically just seeing if we're going to score like 2 touchdowns. So let's go at 10.5 points in the first half.
Yeah, over. Oh, I'll take that over in the first.
Actually,
quarter.
no, because I said 2 touchdowns. Let's go
Confidence.
13.5 so that it's not 2 field goals as well.
So it
that
happens
over
every
in
time.
the
Every
first
time I
quarter.
answer fast and confidently, he's like, "Oh no, we
Not
gotta
every
move this
time.
line.
You
We gotta
answered
move this
fast
line.
a
That was-
couple of times
that was
already,
too
and I
quick.
didn't.
It's too quick. We gotta move this line."
Can I make an amendment?
Sure.
Can I say offensive points?
That's Yes.
No. Bullshit. Fuck that. Nope. It's points. Period. Fuck you. It's points. I'll still
It's a
take.
good point. I
I'll
should have done that. I should have done
I'll still
that.
take the 13.5 over, and I'm
Okay.
going to call it by the first quarter.
Okay.
Well, that's fucking bullshit.
I should have done that. You're right, but too late.
I think our defense eats this week. They could have more than a touchdown.
Let's move this line. First half, let's move this line for real. Let's move this line for real. I'm going to say make it 16.5.
I was just going to say 2 touchdowns and a field goal type. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that just made it harder. Jeez. I had my answer picked.
Are you still
They had
going
to
over?
Fuck it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Matt?
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah,
I'm taking the under.
Passing the buck
We have
here.
not scored in the first half
Yeah.
yet. I'm taking the under because math.
Yep.
Smart man. Going back to the beginning of the show, just that blind Husker loyalty and optimism that comes in no matter what happened.
floats
This
thick
is
down
it.
here.
This is it. We're fucking back. Ah, man.
I already typed the over for you. Go
Good.
ahead.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Just save me the work. Save the drama. Save the drama.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has got to be it. This, whether I believe it or not, it's actually going to happen. This has got to be it where they wake up. So let's do overs, baby.
Gotta do
Let's
it.
go.
You got 2 weeks. Otherwise,
got
this
to be
whole
it.
season's going to
It's a
hurt.
6 p.m. game.
hold
Memorial
on, I gotta
Stadium's
give
going to
my-
be
I gotta
fucking
give my
rocking. No, I'm saying. I'm
I'm
just
sorry.
backing up his
I thought you were
statement.
kinda closing
It's
it.
a
Okay,
6
sorry.
p.m. game.
It's not even
Memorial
our last
State's going
question, is it?
Yeah,
Memorial
it's my last
Stadium's
one.
going to be fucking rocking. I think it's going to be electric as fuck in there. We're going to score fast
Either
and
that or
quick
the
in our
stadium's
first
going to
one.
be full of Xanax, one of the two. I don't know.
Maybe by the end of the game. We don't know what's happening. But what's your pick?
I'm going to do the prove it pick and go under.
You're going under?
Prove it.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
like Matt said, we haven't scored one fucking point in the first half yet this year.
Yeah, I'll make a shot bet right now on the opening drive for Nebraska. We got it. We got to score.
A score or a touchdown?
We will get a score on the opening
Okay,
drive. I'll
I'm
make
not-
a shot
I'm not
bet.
doing that because I think
Okay,
we
a
will.
touchdown. I'll take the touchdown. You take the no?
No, I'm good.
Okay, fine.
I'll do that with you.
Okay, fair enough. This is like I said, I believe it is a 6 p.m. kick. That's what they've got over on FS1. It looks like it's supposed to be a game time temperature of 81 degrees.
gorgeous.
It's gonna be perfect.
Top 10 day of the year.
It'll probably be 75, 72 by halftime, I would guess. It's going to be beautiful to be out there. Not supposed to be much wind expected, slightly overcast. They've got Nebraska right now at what we were preseason for the Colorado game, minus 11.5.
That's
That number seems very small to me. I don't like it, but I think it's also mostly
Math man.
because
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're only going to score in the second half, you don't have that much time.
you're right. You're right, because they also set the over-under at 43.
Yeah.
So, essentially, they're saying we're going to score 25-ish points. 25, 26.
I also don't. I mean, Northern Illinois scored 11 points against Southern Illinois last week.
Southern Illinois' defense is stout, man.
Are they?
The Salukis, man, they come to play.
Salukis? That's their name?
I knew Southern
It's
Illinois was
it's
a
an
college
Egyptian dog.
10 minutes ago.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
It's an Egyptian dog?
Yeah.
What?
It's like it's like an Alaskan dog for Northern Illinois. The
I don't know.
Huskies.
It's fucking weird.
They like their dogs up there, and
Illinois has got.
Just outside of
Chi-town.
Chicago.
It's fucking weird.
That's where they're from.
That's all I can say.
Illinois.
It's fucking weird. I'm taking Nebraska the minus 11.5. I think we cover that pretty simply. I'm guessing my guess on the game is probably something in the actual number of like 42-7. I'd really love to see a 42-0, but we're going to give up a touchdown in the game.
I think your confidence in our offense is astounding.
Yeah, I'm impressed with that.
I'm also anticipating at least one defensive score.
I think it's 30-0.
30-0.
I think Nebraska covers easy, but we don't hit that over.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go. We'll let you finish this out, Mike. I am going to treat this game like I'm treating the entire season. I'm not going to put any expectations on this game. I know if this is a close game, whether we win or not, doesn't matter how it looks, whatever. They're going to be, it's just Northern Illinois, blah, and then people are going to be pissed off. I'm taking the stance of a lot of people, some naysayers. You know, you said that you had questions coming into the whole Matt Rhule experiment and all this other stuff. A lot of people, when people like us would talk about the hype and the good things and everything else, a lot of people would jump in and say, who cares? Just win games. That's where I'm at right now. Just win games. I don't care how it looks. I don't give a shit how many points we score. I don't care how many yards we get. I just want to win. Period.
Well said.
No, I do think Nebraska's going to win this game. I don't know that it's going to be as comfortable as many people want it to be. Because I still, as hyped as we're going to be for the first home game, I think we're also still kind of pressing. And again, I don't think Jeff Sims is going to play. So I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people want, but I think Nebraska wins. And I'm going to take that to the bank and be super fucking happy.
I kept waiting for you to give us the Al Davis there. Just win, baby, win.
Basically, yeah. That's all I'm going to care about.
Nebraska with the points. Yes or no?
No.
You have a score prediction?
Like I said, I think no, I don't really do score predictions. I think it's going to be closer than what people want it to be. But again, just win a game. I don't care. I'm not going to be pissed off even if it's a 1-point game. Just win. Cool. We won.
Oh, if it's an ugly 1-point win, I might be pissed off.
I'll take the win.
What you got, Mikey?
We're 0-2. I don't know if I'll be that pissed off.
Fair enough.
I agree 100% with you. We always say, you know, these inferior teams, these lesser teams that we're just supposed to absolutely trounce and manhandle. When's the last time that actually happened?
Exactly.
It's been a long time for us.
And the last time these guys came into our house, and
well, not
we were
the
supposed
last time. We actually beat them in 2019, though. That was 2017
Were
when
they
they
at
beat
home?
us. No, it was here.
because they beat us at home, didn't they?
Yeah, in 2017.
We
Oh, that
don't,
was in 17.
we don't
Okay.
play them
Okay.
at their stadium.
Well, same
Do
scenario.
they have a stadium?
Yeah.
Same scenario, though.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
we're
we paid
supposed
for
to
it.
trounce. I'm supposed to trounce.
Yes.
I'm supposed to beat all. When's the last time that's actually really happened? So I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think, as well. Just win. Yeah, that's about the best way you can say it. Just win the game. I just because I said in the beginning that I need them to score more than 25 points in this game. They have to. I'll take the spread for Nebraska, but just barely. Just barely.
Right at it.
Yeah.
You think they hit the over for the game? 43?
No,
No?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Score prediction?
28-10.
28-10. All right.
Cool.
Any parting words of wisdom there, Jed?
Well, I mean, you thought I was going to say it, so these are my last words. Just win, baby.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.